This morning begins the second half of the early Virginia muzzleloader season. I spent the first half of it camped up in the mountains with my buddy Jack and hunting the big woods, hunting the mountains, the big woods. That's my favorite way to deer hunt. And well, that's what we was up there to do, but it was warm, and seasonably warm, very warm. Actually, to walk around in the mountains, you had to stop and cool off frequently. It would burn you up walking around through those mountains. But my buddy Jack didn't even buy a license. Like I said, I'm 81, Jack's 83. How many more years we gonna get to go to those mountains? I don't know. But Jack is really, he's not in good shape. Like I said, he's fighting two types of cancer right now. He's had colon cancer and prostate cancer in the past, and now in the past 5 years he's had two different types of a blood cancer. He's not in the best of shape. His ability to walk around is very limited. He's unsteady walking through the woods and whatever, so he didn't even buy a license. But he loves to camp. So the emphasis last week was on camping. You call it a deer hunt, but I'd call it more, it was a deer camp, you know. He had a lot of fun. I mean, because he likes to camp. He prefers camping over the hunting anyway. He likes to lay around, camp and cook and things like that. That's what he did. So he actually had a ball. And I had a good time camping with him. So my emphasis last week was on camping. It wasn't on hunting by any means. So today begins my first day of really serious deer hunting, I guess you could say. And probably most of my deer hunting the rest of the season, rather than being in the big woods and moving around in the big woods, I'll probably spend most of my time right here in Fort Quigley. Yep, I'm going to set up siege here on these deer here at Fort Quigley. Last year, it was day 18 of the siege before I ever fired a shot. I hunted every day. Last year, Jack was in such bad shape, we didn't even go to the mountains last year. We went to the mountains this time. He didn't hunt. I mean, he just camped, but last year he was feeling so bad we didn't even go to the mountains at all. And so I spent my entire time here at Fort Quigley. And I saw several deer, actually even saw several bucks, but it was day 18 of the season. So I went through the 14 days of early muzzleloader season and was in the fourth day of the general firearm season, the rifle season, before I ever fired a shot, and that was a pretty good buck. Then 2 days later, I got the best buck of the year. So on day 18 and 20, 18 and 20 days of solid hunting last year, I finally took 2 shots and got 2 good bucks. Then after that, it was going up country looking for does and what have you. And I finally wound up getting my limit of deer, which was 5 deer, 2 bucks and 3 does. So today is day one at the seige at Fort Quigley. It's very foggy out this morning, very foggy. There were 3 does were up here on the hill this morning. So at daylight, I mean, I could look over and it's just cracking daylight from the house, and I could see 3 deer over there. So I waited until it got light enough to really tell what they were for sure before I ever walked out of the house. And they were 3 does. And when I let the pup out to do her business before I come out here to quickly, she ran those 3 deer off. So those 3 does off. So that's the status right now. I just got here to the Quigley. I'm gonna sip on some coffee, sit back and relax, and just watch the fields here surrounding Fort Quigley. It might just be my age, or it might be the fact that it really is nice sitting here in the fort in Fort Quigley. It's nice. So every year I seem to enjoy Fort Quigley more and more and more. So sitting out here in this thing is pretty nice. I'll get me a cup of coffee and watch fields a while. You can kind of see how foggy it is this morning as I look out the various windows here around look out no matter where I look, it's foggy. Beautiful morning from Fort Quigley. There probably aren't too many. Probably not too many places out here on the Virginia and wild frontier that are any more comfortable to set up a deer seige than here to Fort Quigley. Yes, sir. Fort Quigley's got a lot going for it. And if you keep your seige going long enough, it's generally quite productive. Like I said, last year it took 18 days for the first one and 2 more days for the second one. But generally speaking out here, you don't see a lot of bucks throughout most of the year. Usually it's when the rut comes on that the bucks just show up, and you don't have time very long to get on them. You gotta, they're usually out in the fields a very short period of time. They're pretty much just crossing these fields. So you gotta be ready. You gotta have your rifle ready and everything. You've just got a very short period of time to get on. Generally speaking, he won't be there long. So. just keep sitting there acting like a hoot out. Turn my head around every which direction. You don't want to let them sneak up on you. So. Oh, goodness. Should have brought me a honey bun out here this morning, but I didn't. Major solar period started at 7 and it goes to 10, so I'll probably hunt till around 10. Then I'll probably go leave the fort and go back toward the homestead there and cook up a bite of breakfast. Keep looking. Instead of the fog lifting as the morning wears on, it's getting heavier and heavier. One thing, if I do spot a buck, he'll probably be within flintlock range. Open-sighted round ball flintlock range. I haven't had to use the binoculars very much this morning. Goodness gracious. It is foggy. It's foggy, foggy, foggy. Days like this, foggy, limited visibility, and wet woods. That's the perfect time to still hunt the big mountains, like it was last week. But last week it was hot and dry. I mean, super dry and crackly woods, real crackly, real dry. Right now, this is perfect still hunting conditions. But a whole lot less than perfect from hunting out of the Fort Quigley. Fort Quigley's positioned here on the farm where you can, during the rifle season, anyway, take long shots. That's where it got its name Quigley from anyway. Long range shooting. But this morning, the seige here at Fort Quigley is a short range proposition. Extremely short range. There's the fog has begun to lift quite a bit, and I could just make out the top of the field up there on Sand Mountain, and there's a deer standing there feeding along the edge of the woods. It looked like a good-sized body deer. The shape looked like a buck, but I couldn't see any horns on it. Of course, if it had been it would have been a decent rack to see the horns through that little bit of fog that's still up there and at that distance, but I didn't see anything. So it's fired up the camera here, which got I'm going to zoom in on it. The camera's got a pretty potent lens, and I was going to zoom in to see it. Before I got the camera fired up, it left. I don't know what it was. Turkeys hopped up on a long down tree over there to dry out. Flopping out there trying to dry her feathers off. There might be others there. But that's all I see is that one. Just trying to dry off. They love to get up on tree laps and rocks and stuff like that. Fluff out and fan out, and sometimes they'll stand there forever. Let me show you where it's really at. These are all gobblers. 5 longbeards over there. Sun's beginning to come out a little bit now. Fog is gone, the sun's out. I think I'm going to call it a morning. Here at Fort Quigley. Working my way back toward the house. Get me a bite of breakfast. First morning hunt. First morning hunt here in the Quigley is over. I reckon I'll come back later today. Back for the last little bit of daylight. Watch these fields and see what gives. Never know. Solar periods aren't falling real good today. As far as overall activity, it's just an average day. It's not a high activity day anyway, and periods are just not falling at the right times of day. Just keep an eye on it, because whenever it does get right, that's when you want to be out here, that's for sure. Anyway, I'll just keep looking for the next little while. It looks like the first day of the season at Fort Quigley. It's going to end with another shot being fired. Well, like I said, last year it was on day 18 and 20 that the two shots were fired from Fort Quigley. Resulted in 2 good bucks. Well, we'll be back tomorrow.